This is Devin Croswell with Sherpa Design, and I'm going to show how to set up what's called a reuse library in NX. With NX started, I'll go over to my resource bar, and lower down in the open area, I'm going to right click here, go to my tabs, and turn on the visibility for the reuse library tab. On this tab, I can see a few out-of-the-box reuse libraries, these folders. And what these folders are doing for me is collecting a group of NX files in a certain location that I now have quick and easy access to. But I want to add my own. So I'm going to go ahead and click once again in the open area on the reuse library tab. And I'm going to go to Library Management. This will bring up the Library Management dialog, and in here I can add a new folder of my own. Going up in the left corner, upper left corner, I can add a new library, and this will allow me to dig through this Windows directory and find that directory that I want to add. So I'm going to go ahead and add my reuse directory. So I just go into that top level folder. I'll be able to see any subfolders that are in this folder. And I click OK to add it to this list. It will prompt me to rename it. And if I'm adding multiple reuse library folders, then that will be pretty helpful. In this case, I'm just going to leave it as is. And before I click OK to add it to the group of out-of-the-box folders, what I want to do is make sure I can see it in all the applications that I'm going to be using in NX. Right now I'm adding this folder specifically to the no part application, as you can see here. What I can do though is right click on the folder that I just added, go to application task. This will bring up a list of applications that I can click on. So no part, that's just NX is open. I don't have a part open yet, but maybe I still want to see my reuse library folder. In fact, I definitely want to see it with my no part application. Usually the top 8 or so, we start getting in alphabetical order here, but gateway, no part, modeling, that's usually what I'm turning it on for. But obviously if I'm working in a specific application, I just want to make sure that when I switch back and forth between that application and any other, that I can see the folder containing the parts that I want easy access to. So once those are all checked, I can click OK, or close, sorry, and go back to my reuse library management dialog, where I will then click OK to add it to my reuse library tab. Now that my folder has been added to the reuse library, I can expand it, see there's a subfolder in here, but maybe I want to see a little easier what is in these folders, and I can do that by expanding the member select area in the lower left. Expanding member select and then highlighting the folder I care about, I can see the only thing in this reuse folder is this other subfolder, but in this subfolder, if I dig down to that, I can see there's a backhoe assembly in here. A lot of components. Looks like the assembly itself and the components are contained in one folder. And I can right click on one of these files and open it into my working window. Another action that this reuse library will allow me to do is to quickly click, hold, and drag files into my assembly. So once this is open, I can go back to my reuse library folder or tab, and that folder, it's already open here with member select. And let's say I need to add an additional backhoe in here. I can just click, hold, and drag this component and start quickly building my assembly. Or if I want to work on that component by itself, not in the context of the assembly. Now I don't want to add it to my assembly. I can just right click on it again, and instead of add to assembly, I open it in its own working window, and I can toggle back and forth between my tabs. But I'm not having to go to my file pull down, open, dig through those windows all the time to find the correct component that I care about. I can just go to my reuse library because I've gathered all those components into one location and added it directly into my NX. So that's been looking at the reuse libraries in NX.